All right, we're going to go over some plays for today, Thursday, February 6th. Uh, Today was a little bit of a slower day personally for me, in terms of making trades. Overall, the action was there. Today, Thursday would mark 6 out of 6 on trades for the week. I did lock out of my Twitters. Now, I think I might have mentioned in my last video, maybe the one before, but I did have the Twitter leaps. I had let me just find them here. I had the January 15th, 2021 Twitter calls, right? So I got the 40 strike. Now, when I was deciding on Twitter, I liked it for the long anyway. I'll go over my reasons in just a little bit. But when I was looking at Twitter, I was, deciding on whether I wanted to go with the 40, the 50. So I just got the 40, right? And this was prior to earnings. They had earnings today. Ended up the day up 15% at highs. I think at one point we were up about 18% or so. Overall, I really liked the long on Twitter. Really nice higher lows on the daily, really clear uptrend, gap to fill, at least room to that 200 MA, which obviously we are over now. I knew that obviously if we broke over these highs, our next level would be up until 38 to 40 bucks, which is where we are now. I ended up taking them off because of a few reasons. One, the calls that I had were up just over 100%. So it was hard for me not to take them off, even though I did have a lot of time till expiration, of course. Um, and we had this move happen rather quickly. The main reason I took it off at the 40 level at the highs was because this was the level that we fell from. The open of this candle on the 23rd of October is 39 bucks, so 38.99, 39 bucks. So up in this level, when I noticed that Twitter was starting to stall out towards the end of the day, I just took it off. That was it. I had those, like I said, I had the 40s, and I'm gonna pull them up right now. I got them for 280. I sold them for 590. Let me just make sure here. Yeah, 590. Okay. Yeah, so just a bit over 100% on those Twitters. Um, right. So on this Twitter chart, this is the January 15th 40 call, right? Now notice here, obviously there's a lot of time left till expiration. Of course, it's a whole year. These did open low, obviously lower than where I did get them in at, but overall, since it is a year time for the expiration, I'm not too worried about them sitting at a low or at a high at the time. Um, but overall, for the option chart, really nice uptrend, and of course, a breakout today, taking it to highs of $6 on Twitter. So that was my main trade for today. I just told myself, I'll wait for a pullback now on Twitter, and then I'll re-enter with, most to or some of what I made on that leap. Um, so that was the play for me on Twitter. The main play overall for today was probably Boeing. Now, Boeing was one that I had a swing on, right? I had a swing on Boeing the other day. I had the 325s. I might have mentioned it in my previous video. If not, then I mentioned it in Discord and on my stream, right? I had the 325 calls for Boeing. They were the weeklies, so this week's expiration for February 7th. I personally got the 325s. The 325s, I got them for like 90 cents. They ended up today at 17 bucks. So I'll show you this chart. This is the ones that I got. And you can see today at highs, we went as high as 18, 19 bucks on these specific contracts. Now, obviously, I got them when they were sitting at lows. There was still time till expiration, and they weren't too far out. Now, I know that a majority of the room and Jim got the 340 calls, which at the time I thought were a little too far out. But hey, these ended up doing like 10,000% return. These specific calls here, the 340s, and these are the weeklies as well, right? So these opened at 10 bucks. They hit highs of 15 bucks, and they pulled into lows. I mean, at the lowest point, they did go to a penny, but prior to today, so that'd be the 5th on yesterday, you could have gotten them for as low as 4 cents. So from 4 cents to 5 bucks on these today is an absolute insane return. And that just shows, Boeing is a very, very good stock to trade. I really like trading Boeing. I like the range that it has, and obviously we get some really, really nice intraday moves on it. The main thing for Boeing was that when I was looking at it, I wanted it to pull into this 315 level back down here. Let me just move over. Right here that I'm hovering across right now, 315. We had an impulse move to the upside off of this level back on the 28th of January into the 29th. The 315 was that new demand level, and I was going to say, Well, obviously, I was looking and I was saying, hey, well, Boeing's pulling back to this 315, the origin of the up move for the first time. I would like to see buyers step in here. So obviously, buyers stepped in. They took the price up. Where can we go after 315, right? What's the next supply level we were looking at? This upper wick here. Now I'm going to zoom in. This upper wick here back on the 9th of January has a open of 338. Obviously, we are above that now. I'll show you on the daily as well. This wick right here as well on the 7th of January with an open of 334, a high of 344. So we came right into that today. It's the wick that filled that gap down. Now, there are levels on Boeing that are higher than the current price that we have not retraced to yet, such as this big red candle here with the open of 367 and as high as 370, mid 370s. So I'm keeping an eye on Boeing. I really like the long side continuation. I know that when this one gets going, it has really, really nice runs. Overall, we just have been consolidating up in this over 300 level since the beginning of 2018. So for quite some time now, about 2 years, we've just been consolidating here. A rally and a base. And let's see if we can get another rally on Boeing back to $400. I mean, this area up here, even at 390, we would have to revisit to on Boeing, which we have not yet. Same story here at the 370s. So really, really nice play today on Boeing, and it's just going off these levels. Let's see what else I got here. BK&G. BK&G, guys, this was also another great winner. I love BK&G. It's such a simple, obviously nothing's too simple, but compared to other stocks that I'm trading every day, I have to say that BK&G is probably the most simple one to figure out. And it moves. It's a nice gapper too. So obviously we hit highs here of 2080. We fell. Now I was saying, okay, well now that we're at a supply level on BK&G at the 2080, 2090, I know that we could sell off from here, but where can we sell off into before we get any bounces? Yeah, there were a few levels over here, back at 1900. However, the origin of the move was back here at 1830, when we really started moving up on BK&G without any pullbacks. The origin of the up move, right? That's what I'm looking for. So we pulled back right into that. You could say it's a double bottom, of course. Buyers stepped in. We closed that first green day on a doji. There are multiple strikes that I played on BK&G, such as the 1890s, the 1910s, and the 1950s. The 1890s, if I have held on to those until today, hitting highs on BK&G of 1958. Those 1890s today are currently priced at $75, so kind of did my head in on those because I sold them way too early. But I had the 1950s as well, which I'm not in those anymore. I took them off. Right now those sit at $16. Now take a look at BK&G. I'm going to pull up on the left here the equity chart because I want to show you guys something on the option put and call chart. So here's a daily on BK&G, right? Now I'm just going to pull up the 1950 calls to show you guys. Now this is what I'm seeing here on BK&G, right? We fell on BK&G into these lows, but why did we move up from here, right? What caused this to bounce? What caused the price to bounce from the 1830s, low 1800s back into almost 2K, right? We see on this option call chart the 1950 for the weekly expiration. These specific calls, these opened back on the 30th of December for $140, so 14 grand for a contract. They hit highs and they stayed there till January 22nd at $143. Now, BK&G at the lows, as BK&G here fell into the demand level of 1830, 1840, these calls were sitting at a low while the puts were at a high. So these calls, you could have gotten them for as low as 30 cents at one point. These specific 1950s, I got them for like 90 cents. I think $1, 90 cents a dollar before it really started going. But just to show you, right? Big sell-off, big drop. We know that we are at a demand level, and we know that the calls are at a low. We're taking the long. And obviously we're not making any of these trades based off of news, any smoke screen crap like that, volume, purely just off these supply and demand imbalances, right? And every single trade that I'm going over has been an absolute ripper this week, just off of our method that we're going over here in the chat room. So guys, I would highly advise you to sign up for a free 7-day trial. There's nothing to lose. You don't have to put in your credit card or anything like that. Just 7 days. Come watch the streams, right? Say what's up. Ask me any questions that you guys have. I would love to help you out. You guys know that Tesla has been absolutely been a monster. I haven't played Tesla recently. Obviously they just have been super expensive. The implied volatility is well over 100, so that's kind of a rule of mine. I'm not trying to play anything that's over 100% implied volatility, even though I do think that the IV can hold up for the time being. We hit highs on Tesla of 968. Absolutely insane. And we had a pullback day. We were down like 18% yesterday on Tesla, pulling the lows of 704, and a little bit of a green day today. We did start red, but we went from red to green. Tesla. And big shout out to AC in chat for, I think he said he had his biggest winning day since January. I posted it on Instagram. He made just over 60 grand on Tesla calls on this dip in the morning, and absolutely ripped back up to $800. So 100-point move, and you'd get that. That's pretty much it for right now, guys. Overall, like I said, for me today, just one trade on Twitter that I took off. I did enter a Roku Lotto play going into the close today for tomorrow's expiration. I took a hedge on it. I took 120 puts and 135 calls. Like I said, I'm 6 for 6 on the week. I'm willing to give back, the $250, whatever it is that I put into the lotto. If it hits, it hits. If not, I'll go and enjoy my green week. So thank you guys for listening. I'll see you all in chat. Sign up for a free trial. I'll put the website link in the bio, and I'll see you guys there. Thank you for your time.